when I first got into business, I got into business to accentuate a lifestyle. I got 3 kids. I put my kids through private school. I did this, had a nice car. When I think about what Walking Victory entails, it's not just about, okay, make a lot of money, but it's also where to put the money, how to pay yourself. There's a way to pay yourself, how to use trust, how to use things. These are things that nobody came into the projects and talked to me about.
You can't tell anybody to do something in this place if
That
you are not willing to do it yourself. Every morning, he would walk through the factory and say good morning to every single person in the place.
Mm-hmm.
There's 200 employees.
And he said good morning to everybody?
Every single one. They loved him because they knew he loved them and he cared about them. So that was the way I grew up learning about business. Was you get more out of being a leader than being a boss. I was sensitive as a kid and all that. And I went into a business where first business I was in, actually, my dad put me into business with somebody else. He had closed his factory and he had this non-compete for a couple of years.
Ladies' accessory can be broad.
Yeah.
Anything made noises.
And nothing that vibrated either. Sorry.
Yeah, I like your human, Martin.
He did something very interesting. There was a store that was closed for a couple of years. For the old people in the audience, it was called EJ Corvettes. Right? And Corvettes was a department store. And they had closed all their stores in the mid to late 70s. He says, you know what? I like this flea market idea. So he took the building and bought it along with Toys R Us, because it was a big building with a lot of other stores available there too.
Is that right?
And turned it into a flea market. It was called Caesar's Bay Bazaar. In the mid-90s, Kmart came to my dad and said, we'll pay you guys as much as you're making at the end of the day to rent it and put a Kmart there. So he goes, I'll have the same amount of profit without doing any of the work. Unfortunately, the land wasn't right. And then my father passed away. I turned to my brother-in-law and I said, I don't even know if he was proud of me, because he never said those words to me. I always felt like I need to prove myself to my dad, alive or dead. Maybe we should look into opening up some tennis courts. I am not an athlete. I'm just not.
You look like one.
I'm an athletic supporter, but I'm not an athlete. 7 or 8 courts. But if you think you're going to make money just by having tennis courts, you will make some money, but it won't be what you're looking for.
It won't be profitable.
So what started out as 7 or 8 tennis courts turned out to be 100,000 square foot tennis and health club. And I'm funding this thing between my money and other people's money. Now, if it was 2006 or 2007, the banks were like, we can't wait until you're done when you get the approval from the city, because we're just going to throw the money at you. I'm over $3.5 million into it between my money and my investors' monies.
And again, that's the same.
When is this happening? I was able to live my life and do this project. I walk into the bank, and the bank's like, yeah, we're not lending. And everything collapsed like a house of cards. I never got to the building. It was all in planning until I got the approval from the city.
Why didn't you quit?
It didn't make sense to quit. I come from a pretty affluent community, and I go out there and go to the community organizations that help people get jobs. Right? And they're like, oh, yeah, we're not hiring you because you're going to come into our business, learn our business, and you got money behind you. You'll go turn around and steal my business, steal my customers. I stopped paying my mortgage. There were so many foreclosures that it took them years before they finally came to me and said, oh, okay, let's move from here. My BMW was being repossessed. That's how bad it got.
You can't be father of the year and provider of the year.
Things don't happen to me. They happen through me. I came up with an acronym for the word life. and I called it Live Incredibly Full Every Day. What would my father think about where I am right now in my life? If I wasn't loving myself, why should she love me? I've been married for almost 6 years to a wonderful woman, right? Because I liked myself and I loved myself again. What a great question. And it's called Worrier to Warrior. Worrier with an O to Warrior with an A. Because that's who I was. I was a worrier. I was too very worried about everything else that was going on. And I realized going through the divorce, going through 2008, going through a weight fluctuation at the same time, realized that I can overcome anything because I'm a warrior. I'm not a worrier anymore, right? It's about shifting that mindset from lack, thinking, oh, I don't have anything and I can't, to abundance. Oh, I have everything right now and I can do whatever it is I want to do as long as I put my head in the right mindset. It started with me first understanding that I don't have to please everybody. And when I read the second agreement, don't take anything personally, I felt like he was talking directly to me, telling me something my father had told me for years. So if anybody that understands Orthodox Judaism, you got to walk to synagogue. Mm-hmm. And my friends are all moving into the area and we're like, okay, it's time for us to build a synagogue. And I become the founder of the first synagogue in Eatontown, New Jersey. I'll give you $50,000 for your building if you name it after your brother. My brother passed away. When he told me that, he was telling me he was proud of me. If you change your mindset to understand that if it's not happening the way it's supposed to, it could be God or the universe's way of saying you need to make a change. Remember these 3 words when you're about to get into an argument. Stop, think, and respond.
And that's why our motto is we sit you at the feet of the masters.
One book is called, I read this book already. It's called Who Not How. So that's what Who Not How is. Go out and find the who. And that's really what I've developed now is a coaching program where I help entrepreneurs, mostly coaches and consultants, get to 7 figures within 2 years guaranteed.
It's difficult. And you start to feel less than a person. You start to devalue yourself. If you have children, you need someone that can talk you through that and show you that you still have value. You still have something to offer, a brightness on the other side of that railroad.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode and found inspiration and valuable insights to apply to your own life. Until next time, keep walking towards victory.